Hello YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. It is your girl JaKel, and thank you for tuning into this next conversation that I have presented for you. But if you are new, definitely hit that subscribe button to join the Kel Bell Nation and hit that bell to be notified of any time that I upload. And let's get right into this conversation. So the reason why I came to the conclusion to really talk about this subject that I brought to you guys is I really do see comments on YouTube or either on Instagram where a lot of people have expressed their feelings of a certain wrestler needs to turn heel. Now, not every wrestler that you see on screen who is a face needs to be a heel, because oftentimes it's usually not a certain point in the story that's going on that really justifies a heel turn to take place. And most times it's too premature to really determine a heel turn because the story really does have to be right. And before I get into that, I will say I have noticed an occurring pattern. A lot of fans really aren't patient enough to really see certain wrestlers' characteristics develop. When it comes to a wrestler having a certain gimmick, most traits have to be marinated in order for it to bloom. It can't just be so quick. You have to plant the seed and you have to nurture it and you have to keep it watered so much so that way it can grow. But if you keep rushing it, it's gonna die out too fast and it's not gonna have enough developmental time in order for it to really accomplish to be successful. Let's take, for example, Cody Rhodes. When he returned back in the year of 2022 and really started to begin a new gimmick of the American Nightmare, and it was very successful, a lot of people got behind it, and he had a lot of credentials in order to be successful to take down Roman Reigns. Now, he went through the process of developing the character and gaining the characteristics, and he shared his story of what he was about and what he was aiming for, and we all know it. I don't have to run down the information in detail. But one thing is for sure, after when Cody Rhodes was very successful to defeat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40, here comes the flood of comments of criticism. They criticized Cody for the way he held the title. They criticized that he shouldn't have been the right person to take down Roman Reigns, which was very odd to say. And I didn't understand that. He built up in order to take down Roman Reigns. And he had reasons why. And some people criticized him. He said that he was a boring champion. Were there some moments where it wasn't the best? Of course. But still overall, the whole thing was good. And that's what I mean. Things take time to marinate and it was successful. But when it comes to seeing the final product being presented to us, a lot of people turned on it because now people want Cody Rhodes to turn heel. He doesn't have to turn heel for you to like him because he was great as babyface, but a person who is in the business has to have a justified reason for them to turn heel. Cody Rhodes right now, as we see, doesn't have a justified reason for him to turn heel. Only time a person definitely needs to turn heel is when there is a moment there needs to be a change of character, or if what their run as babyface has ran out. It does not need to be sporadic at the time because you don't like what they're doing. And this brings me to an example of Naomi. Naomi has been the glow character for a decade, and she was that character for a very long time. She did have some other gimmicks in between her career that was really, really nice. The Funkadactyl, the Bad Girl, those were nice as well too. But this comes the justified reason to turn heel. The big three, Jade, Cargill, Bianca, and Naomi herself, all were intertwined with this great group. They were very strong, they were exciting, they were very entertaining to watch. But it all came crashing down when her attack on Jade is really what sparked, because she was a mystery attacker and it really brought a certain element of surprise and it brought out a different side of Naomi, and we've seen all of these characteristics and she played it out so well and was very successful. This is a heel turn that was justified due to the storyline, not because of the likeness. It that does play a little part. It's like half and half, I would say, but a lot of people didn't like the Glow character and didn't appreciate it, but as soon as she turned heel, you gain the likeness for her. But that's the 50% side of it. The other 50% is that this was a needed change for Naomi. It brought something new and added value to the women's division. So that is an example of a justified heel turn. It was completely great for the storyline. It was great to gain an extra characteristic. Another example of a justified heel turn was Liv Morgan. She really brought a lot of great elements to the women's division, and she really improved herself a lot. She had the right time, she had the right storyline, and she had a justified reason to have a heel turn. As we've seen, there were some great moments. There were some moments that were kind of shaky, but she still managed to make all of it successful. And what she brought to the women's division and for herself, she brought versatility, and she brought another characteristic trait that was very, very enjoyable. And so she is another pick that I can say that had a justified heel turn. It wasn't out of the blue. It was something that made sense. It wasn't something that felt rushed. It all came together correctly, and that is what you need. You don't want a heel turn that just makes no sense for no reason, and then all of a sudden you have to gain the likeness of someone who has no story or no detail to give you in order for the reason why they turned heel. But to give an example of a heel turn that is needed but doesn't necessarily have to happen is Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is in a sticky situation at the moment right now, and he is still in this underdog gimmick, even though personally for me, I don't believe he's in this underdog gimmick anymore. He's really proven himself that he's really above that term, and he has great accolades in his WWE career, but a lot of people want him to turn heel. This is an example of a wrestler who needs to turn heel to bring something different. This is not a heel turn just to gain the likeness of the person, but to bring something different to the product. Because Sami Zayn has been in this same stagnant position that feels directionless, and him turning heel could provide something different, but his heel turn has to be justified. It has to be in the right story and with the right person. And I would hate for him to turn heel just because. But he doesn't really need to be heel. But would it be nice? Of course, it would bring some versatility in the equation. But him as babyface is still likable. The only reason why people don't like it is just the position he's in, and had some things where he just should not be taking this U.S. championship, from the words of others that I've heard. He's a great choice as a U.S. champ, but should he at this moment right now? I don't believe so. Definitely Solo should have kept it, but we have to see things play out and see how Sami is going to do as a U.S. champion, and I hope it does go well, because I do love Sami Zayn personally. Next, I have in mind that a lot of people really talk about of needing to turn heel is Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill, before she came to WWE, when she was in AEW, she had a great run and she had some great heel work. Does she work best as heel? Of course. But does she work as face? Absolutely. It's just people don't want to give it a chance. And Jade Cargill as face definitely works. She is very likable, she can talk, and she's very fun to watch. I understand the in-ring is a criticism that she receives all the time, but we can show her some grace, because there's people who aren't the greatest in ring and we still have to sit there and watch this match, and I've seen people show a little bit more favor, but that's besides the point of the conversation right now. But Jade Cargill does not need to turn heel for you to like her. Can she give her best work in that position? Of course, but her as face really works. She is someone you can get behind, and I don't really understand why she has to turn heel for you to like her, and she is the perfect example of that statement. But she has to like I said, Like even with Sami, she has to have the right reasons to turn heel and the right person to do it that's involved in the story. But yeah, that's what I have to say about Jade Cargill. But last but not least, the most infamous option to turn heel is Bianca Belair, the EST of WWE. Bianca Belair does not need to turn heel for you to like her. She is great as babyface, and I don't have to run down her accolades because we know them and they're very, very much highlighted all the time and it's talked about a lot. Bianca Belair can work as a heel, of course, but with the right story and the right person, it can be executed perfectly and it can be successful. But she does not need to turn heel for you to like her, because her as babyface is absolutely amazing. She has had some great moments as babyface, and a lot of people still didn't like it, and she brought a lot of great things to the women's division. She has amazing matches. She has great in-ring skill. Her mic work is on point, and this is all as a face. But her as a heel, what can she provide? What storyline should she have with people? Why should she turn heel? Because I can't think of a reason why she would turn heel. She doesn't have I know she's not currently active and on screen at this time, but she has no reason to turn heel. There's really nothing going on in the time that she was there for her to turn heel. People wanted her, like I said previously with the story, that Naomi was a mystery attacker, but people pinpointed on Bianca and they wanted it so bad. But there's no reason for her to turn on Jade. Could they made a story out of that? They definitely could have, but it definitely helped Naomi the most in that situation. So Bianca down the line possibly could turn heel, and that would be successful. But if they have the right storyline, we can probably like it. She definitely could benefit to bring in some more characteristics and see what she can provide for the women's division. But in this time right now, her as babyface works. But that is all I have to say on this conversation. It just definitely was on my mind because I constantly see it all the time, and I just really wanted to get my 2 cents and my thoughts and opinions on this situation. But I am all concluded with the video. Definitely let me know down in the comments of what you think, and I definitely want to hear your thoughts and share a conversation with you down in the comment box. But I am all done. My socials will be linked in the description below, but I'm mainly active on my Instagram. You can follow me there to stay updated of any time that I upload. But you enjoy the rest of your day. God bless and peace. Hey, editing JaKel here. I know this video is supposed to end, but we're in space right now. But definitely wanted to include one more thought in the conversation that I forgot to include is Jey Uso. He's another person that came to my mind that really can fit into this conversation due to the fact that a lot of people, you know, he had some up and downs as his babyface run, and him being a solo competitor, being outside of the bloodline, and was great, but he definitely dealt with a lot of hate and some fair critiques. But he definitely is someone a lot of people want to be turned heel. But as we see now, he has he has planted the seed of turning heel. So it is a justified reason, because now there is a story involved and there are the right people included into it. And so now we have to see how this is going to go and let it flow and see how this outcome is going to be. And hopefully it's good. And so yeah, that's all I had to add. With Jey Uso was just another great example to include into this topic.